So here we have several API calls to the OMDB API, movie database that allows you to retrieve these things by either ID or by a search term. So let's see if we can do this programmatically from an Angular client. All right, so let's do that. Let's create here under lectures. Let's create for the graduate. Let's create the a directory where we're going to play around with the OMDB API. Right, so this is omdb, and let's create a very simple Angular application in index.html. We're going to close others. So in here, let's grab the Angular library. I think, let's see, I think it's under vendor, Angular, and Angular min. There it is. Good, we got that. We'll also need the we'll also need the Bootstrap library. So let's load that too. So this is href, and let's go up 3 times. There's CSS. We have Bootstrap, right? And that's a style sheet. Okay. So let's see. What do we need? What do we want this to look like? Let's see. Let's lay it out a little bit, right? So we'll have an outside div, and this will be a container fluid, right? And we'll have to get started maybe an h1 that says OMDB API. Okay. We'll have maybe a label that says that this is a search, and we'll have maybe an input field where we can type the title of the movie that we're going to search. So input. And we'll give it we'll paint it so that it's a form control, right? And we'll have a button down below, class button primary, and button block, right? And this will say something like search. Okay, right? And down below we can have maybe the search results. And this will be maybe implemented as a line item, right? And here we have, oops, line item group item. And in here we're going to display maybe the title of the movie and whatnot, everything in here. Okay, right? So let's navigate to see this in action. Let's see what this looks like so far. So if we navigate, we'll go to lectures, graduate, and OMDB, and index. So this is what we have so far, right? OMDB, a search. We put the search in there and do the results down below. Okay. All right. So we have that. We have the layout. Let's now create the Angular application that goes along with this. There's not enough memory to perform. Continue. What do I have open? I don't have anything open. Okay, whatever. Let's see. Hope it doesn't crash on me. All right, so let's create an Angular app from this. All right, so this will be ng app, and this will be OMDB app. Okay, and we'll create it in a script. Source that is omdb.js. Okay, right? And then we'll have a controller that handles all this information. Right? So we'll put maybe an ng controller here, ng controller. That is going to be the OMDB controller. There it is. Okay, and we're going to reference it here. Right? We're going to reference it as the keyword model. And in here, just to make sure that the model, that the controller is talking to this template, the model is going to say hello. All right? Okay. Right now, there is no controller. And if we inspect and we try to refresh, it's going to complain, saying that there is no Angular, there is no OMDB.js, there's nothing. Right? So let's fix that. So let's create this OMDB in a JavaScript of the same name. So this will be JavaScript. It will be omdb.js. and in here we'll create a simple Angular app that Angular module that has the name on the app and no dependencies. And let's while we're here, we can create that controller we declared just now, right? Implemented in a function of the same name, and the model that is bound to the instance of the controller, right? And we can say model.hello, right? So hello from omdb controller, right? So if we refresh this, we have hello from omdb controller. So they're talking to one another, right? The template and the controller are talking to one another. Very good. Okay. So now that we have that, we don't need the hello anymore. We verify that these two are talking to one another. So what we would like to be able to do is that if I type on this input field, I like to pass that search to the controller to be searched. Yes? So let's do that. So this will be ng model. This will be the title, right? And when I click on this, right, ng click, I like to notify the model that we want to search by title, and we're going to pass title. Okay, right? So to do this, let's implement it on the controller. Let's implement that that event handler. Implement it in a function of the same name. It's going to receive the title here, and we're going to do console log title. Right. So let's verify that we have that in the console. So if we type something, we do search, it's not working. Why is it not working? There it is. I haven't refreshed. I haven't refreshed the page. All right, so we have the two working here. What I'd like to be able to do is, in that search, this is what I'd like to be able to do, right? Generate this HTTP GET request programmatically from here. So let's create a variable URL where we are hosting that same URL. Now this Batman could be that title that we're passing as an argument. Right, so that title right there. And then we want to generate an HTTP request, right? So typically we would do that in a service, right? We would create a service, an omdb service that uses $HTTP and whatnot. But for now, let's do some shortcuts here. We're going to declare right here $HTTP. Not that you would ever do that, right? But for time, let's do it here, right? So there's get, right? If it's throwaway code like this, right, and you're experimenting, right? There's no need to do the whole full-blown, right, architectural things that we need for large applications. If it's throwaway code like this, like a proof of concept, that's okay to make these shortcuts, right? So here's a URL, and that's going to come back as a promise with a response here, and then we're going to do a console log response. See what we're getting from the server, if anything. Okay. Let's see if we come back here and refresh here, and we type Batman and do a search. Notice that indeed we're getting some data from the server, right? This is coming straight from omdb, right? We can see the network. Oops, sorry. Batman. There it is. The query. Notice that the query is going straight to omdb.com, right? It's not coming to our server. It's going out to somebody else's server. It's hitting their databases. They're doing the query, right? And it's coming back to us as this. Yes? And where are the movies? They are under the search attribute in the top level object. Yes? So we could pass this to a function ideally this is a function that says render movies or something. Render movies is a function here that takes the response, right? And here we can say model.movies is response.data.search, right? That's where it's coming from, right? The search object inside of the data. All right, so now we should have that on the client side for rendering, right? So we should be able to go to the template and under the results, right? Just print out that in a template movies here, right? Let's see what we get so far. If we type and search for Batman and say search, notice that we have that array of movies as an array. And what's left to do is just basically iterate over this, right? Iterate in an ng repeat. So let's do that. So we could iterate over this. We could say ng repeat over all the movie in the model.movies, right? And in here, we can display different things. We can display the movie.title. Notice that these are all caps. They're all caps, careful. So that's the title. Maybe we want to display the poster, right? That should be a URL to an image that we can render. We have the IMDb ID. I think those three are good enough, right? And so let's render this again. So avatar. And it didn't work. Wait, what? What did I do? Oh, movie. Oh, thank you. Okay, so avatar. There it is. We have avatar. We have the image. If we copy the image, and we go out and paste it, it's indeed an image of a poster, right? So we could use it to render a poster, right? So we could say img. ng source, right? ng source so that it doesn't fail when it tries to load all those bogus values. And so this would be model.poster, and the width maybe, I don't know, like 50 pixels. Or maybe that's enough. What happened? Oh, thank you. Okay, so we go back and search here for Titanic. The images don't work. Oh, maybe I need to. Let's do that. Terminator. There they are, right? So we have the images for Terminator and the title and the IDs, right? So there. So that we have the result set. For being able to search an API, right, that meets a particular criteria. You can make it more complex, where you have dates, you have a genre, where you have a director, where you have whatever, right, whatever it is that you want to be able to do. Okay, but that is limited by whatever the documentation of the API is, right? If they don't let you search by different fields, well, then that's not a valid use case, right? So you're bound to whatever the documentation allows you to do. Okay? All right, so that's being able to search for a list of result sets that meet a criteria. Right. The next thing would be to be able to render the details of one individual movie. Right, and we'll do that next.